Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Chamber members and guests. My name is Ian Morgan and I'm Chair of the Board of Directors for the East Midlands Chamber. This annual general meeting of the East Midlands Chamber is the first to be held virtually, which, as everyone will appreciate, is necessary due to government restrictions on gatherings in order to limit the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. As our Articles of Association neither allow nor disallow such meetings to be held on this basis, you will have noticed that we have included a special resolution under Agenda Item 2, which will, if approved, allow for this contingency in the future. Before I commence the formal proceedings, I should confirm that the meeting is quorate. With regard to voting, I should inform you that proxy votes submitted before the meeting have been counted. I would ask that members who have not cast a proxy vote may vote during the meeting by using the voting facility that will appear on your screen. Obviously, only one vote per member company. Should anyone wish to ask a question during the meeting, I should be grateful if they would use the chat facility, which is being monitored throughout the meeting. I should now like to commence the formal proceedings and start by receiving apologies for absence. These have been received in advance and will be published with the minutes in due course. Agenda Item 2, Special Resolution. Under the resolution, the company is proposing to adopt new Articles of Association in substitution for the existing Articles of Association. The principal changes introduced by the new Articles of Association are summarised as adding the ability to conduct meetings by conference call. Accordingly, a definition of a conference call has been added in Article 1.1 and adding conference call to Articles 8.1, 8.12 and 8.15. Members are asked to agree that the draft Articles of Association produced to the meeting and for the purposes of identification initialed by the Chair, be adopted as the Articles of Association of the company in substitution for and to the exclusion of the company's existing Articles of Association. Can I ask you now to cast your votes? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried. We now come to the ordinary resolutions. Agenda Item 3. Approve the minutes of the last AGM held on the 7th of November 2019 and matters arising from that meeting. Can I ask for the approval of the minutes which have been distributed to members? Can I ask you to cast your votes? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried. If anyone wishes to raise any matters arising from the minutes, could they now do so by using the chat facility? I will now hand over to Stuart Dawkins as Chair of the Risk and Audit Committee for Agenda Item 4, Approval of the Financial Accounts.
Thank you, Ian, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. As Chair of the Chamber's Risk and Audit Committee, I will just say a few words about the Chamber's financial performance in 2019-20, a year that already seems a very long time ago in the unusual times in which we are living. You will have seen from the paperwork circulated for today's meeting that at a consolidated level, the Chamber made a small profit before tax, just under £2,000. The Chamber made a healthy trading surplus during the year, but at group level, that surplus is masked somewhat by the accounting impact of a change in the Chamber's shareholding of its principal external investment, which took place during the year. For transparency, I'd like to briefly describe that change now. At the beginning of the year, the Chamber held 50% of the share capital of the EMB Group, which meant that for accounting purposes, some 50% of the net value of EMB was included in the Chamber's accounts. During the year, the EMB Group used some of its healthy cash balances to buy back shares from its main shareholders. The Chamber received a cash payment, and in return, our shareholding fell to 40%. This means that at the end of the year, the Chamber's consolidated accounts included 40% of the net assets of the EMB Group. As a consequence of this transaction, the Chamber received a significant cash sum, £1 million, the impact of which can be clearly seen in our balance sheet. However, in accounting terms, at group level, the £1 million of cash was more than offset by the fall in the value of our investment in EMB Group, which in turn reflected the lower shareholding percentage. The directors of the Chamber are very comfortable with that transaction, which amongst other things, boosted the Chamber's cash reserves even further. Indeed, a boost to cash reserves proved to be particularly timely in the light of COVID-19, which began to have an impact just as last year closed. For many businesses, cash reserves have been vital during this period, and the Chamber is strong in this respect. This has helped with a number of decisions, such as, for example, the Membership Relief Fund offered to Chamber members in particular need during the pandemic. All in all, the Chamber ended the year in a robust financial position and continues to trade well during the current year, despite, like so many other businesses, significant alterations to its operations to reflect the pandemic. I hope that clarifies the group's accounts. I'd now like to ask if there are any questions related to those accounts. I would now like to propose that this meeting approve the financial accounts for 2019-2020. Can I ask, please, for votes in favour of that resolution? And could I ask if there are any votes against that resolution? And finally, are there any abstentions? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried, and I'd now like to hand back to Ian Morgan for the next stage of the meeting.
Thank you, Stuart. Agenda item 5, election of auditors. The board recommends that we appoint Mazars LLP as the company's auditors to hold office from the conclusion of this meeting to the end of the next period for appointing auditors under section 485(2) of the Companies Act 2006 at a remuneration to be determined by the directors. Can I ask you all now to cast your votes? Thank you. I can declare the resolution carried. This takes us to agenda item 6, election of directors to the board. I'm pleased to announce that Craig Brothers and Neil Williams, who were co-opted to the board recently, are now seeking election to the board. Neil Williams is Public Relations Manager for Amazon Services. Neil has spent more than 30 years in the media and public relations profession, most recently with Amazon. He began his career in regional newspapers before moving to a public relations agency representing clients such as Glaxo Wellcome, BHP, and Kimberly-Clark. He moved client side to join Glaxo Wellcome as it transitioned to GlaxoSmithKline, and he later moved to Rolls-Royce Civil Aerospace in Derby. From there, he spent more than 3 years on the leadership team of International Aero Engines, a Rolls-Royce joint venture based in North America. He returned to Rolls-Royce, heading a marketing communications team before joining Wolseley and then Amazon, based here in the East Midlands. He sits on committees for both Cannock Chase and Peterborough Chambers of Commerce. Can I now ask you to cast your votes? Thank Thank you. I'm delighted to declare that Neil has been elected to the board. Craig Brothers is Managing Director of Afari Media. Craig is one of Afari Media's founders. Afari Media is a Nottingham-based creative marketing agency for the global business-to-business sector. Afari Media develops immersive technology solutions, including virtual reality, augmented reality, and holography solutions for a global client base. Can I ask you now to cast your votes? Thank you. I declare that Craig is elected to the board. Agenda item 7. I'm pleased to announce that the Chamber Board Directors Eileen Richards, Martin Wrigley, Lindsay Williams, Kevin Harris, Stuart Dawkins and Jaffa Kapesi, who are retiring by rotation this year, have been re-elected unopposed to the board. But I now require members to ratify that re-election en bloc. So now, please cast your votes. Thank you. I can declare those board members re-elected. That completes the ordinary resolutions. It takes us to agenda item 8, any other business. I can confirm that no items of any other business that may be transacted at an AGM in accordance with the Companies Act 2006 have been notified in advance to the company. So we can now move on to agenda item 9. And it gives me great pleasure to hand over to our President, Dawn Edwards, for the outgoing President's report.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dawn Edwards, and I've had the privilege over the past year of being East Midlands Chamber President. I'm founder and managing director of Challenge Training and Consultancy based in Nottinghamshire, and myself and the team deliver bespoke and qualification-based leadership and management development throughout the UK, and we're the largest centre for ILM qualifications in the East Midlands. It's been a strange year by anyone's standards, and I could never have dreamt when I took the chains of office last November what the year would have in store for all of us. It started out as predicted, with Brexit being the main topic of discussion and at the forefront of everyone's minds. Little did we know that we'd still be talking about it a year later, but a virus named similar to a brand of Mexican beer would instead take its place. The end to the agreed Brexit transition period is, however, nearly upon us, and this, alongside the pandemic, brings additional challenge over the coming months. The many events I attended at the end of last year gave an opportunity to meet and to listen to members. Among others, included the wonderful festive Leicester lunch and a celebration of culture. All events, of course, have moved online since March. It does perhaps mean, however, that I've probably spoken to or been in the company of many more members and of the wider business community than I would have been, such as the power of virtual meetings in removing geographic boundaries and creating more accessibility. Some of you may remember that last year 3 charities were chosen to be recipients of the Chamber Charitable Fund this year. Those were chosen at random, since having tried to choose just one from each county out of so many worthy charities that are in membership, well, it proved beyond my decision-making abilities, so they were drawn from hats. The charities were Chesterfield Canal Trust, run by volunteers to promote restoration of Chesterfield Canal, the Mighty Creatives, who work to enhance lives of young people through arts, culture and creativity, and Young Enterprise East Midlands, who support and guide young people and ensure that they have opportunities irrespective of their start points. The fund this year has raised over £2,800, which will be split equally between these 3 worthy charities. I'm incredibly proud to have been able to represent the business community in the East Midlands and to have been given a platform and a voice at a time so critical for business. Being a collective business voice and the many lobbying activities which the Chamber engages in has been incredibly powerful. The fruits of this can be seen in some of the decisions and the support packages which have been provided by the government. There is, of course, so much more to do, though. It seems when watching speeches over the past few months, it's been trendy to have an analogy, particularly linked to transport. So here's mine. Over the past year, to say it's been a rollercoaster ride for business would be the best analogy I can draw. With extreme highs and lows, uncertainty around the corner, and changes happening at such breathtaking speed that it's made our heads spin. For some, the year has brought opportunity and excitement, whilst for others, well, it's been a little stomach churning at times for different reasons. Certainty is in short supply, so much so that adapting to change has more than ever before become a way of life. It's even brought with it some new vocabulary around pivoting and agility. For some, it's been critical to embrace opportunities, for others, well, just simply to survive. One thing that's remained constant, though, is the unwavering support and sense of community within the East Midlands. And it's one of the priorities which you, the members, told us was important when I came into office as president. We couldn't have predicted what lay ahead, but the last few months have showcased what can be done when we all work together. And there have been countless examples everywhere of generosity and resilience, which have been truly humbling. Other priorities too have progressed despite the pandemic, and it's testimony to the team at the Chamber and to the steer which you, our members and the business community have continued to give. We promise to drive the skills agenda and to encourage start-up and enterprise. Whilst apprenticeships are challenged in the current climate, the Kickstart scheme has been launched with the Chamber having secured over 1,200 placements for young people in over 400 businesses. And we'll also be actively involved in the rollout of the newly announced Job Entry Targeted Support Scheme, otherwise known as JETS. Another priority was to make the public sector procurement process more accessible to SMEs and to ensure that they are able to compete to win work, in which great strides have been made, including forums and events to enable more effective bidding and a commitment from the government that by 2022, £1 in every 3 will be awarded to SMEs from public sector contracts. Finally, we aim to drive inward investment to the East Midlands, and the recent announcement of the additional £4 billion to level up is welcome. But there's of course more to do. For instance, we must gain commitment for HS2 and its eastern leg and other large infrastructure projects. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Scott and the executive team, and of course each and every staff member who have continued to work on these priorities. The year ahead will no doubt also be a challenging one, with the Brexit transition period coming to an end and negotiations still ongoing. We must continue to make our collective voices heard. The past year has proven how vital it is for us all to work together. Alliances, partnerships and collaborations have been forged in the most unlikely of places, through the most unlikely of circumstances, and they present a real opportunity for the future. Like all things, the Chamber's only as good as its component parts, and I feel fortunate to have had the help and support and guidance of an exceptional team of people, including the other board members who give of their time and considerable expertise within their specialist fields freely. Whilst in some ways I'll be sad to hand over the chains, I'm content to also take a back seat now. And I know that the world ahead will be a good one, with the person in charge doing an amazing job. That person, of course, is Eileen Richards, MBE, someone I admire hugely, and she'll bring her own brand of leadership and enthusiasm to the role. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you as President. It really has been an honour and a privilege. Now I'm going to remove my chains, which is my last duty as in office, and I'll be handing over. These are the Nottinghamshire chains in case anyone was wondering, and Eileen will be wearing the Leicester ones. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dawn, for installing me as the new East Midlands Chamber President for 2021. Dawn, I know this has not been the presidential year you hoped for. However, you have made a real difference. And on behalf of the Chamber, myself and its members, staff and my fellow directors, and with our sincerest thanks, we have arranged for you to receive a gift as a small token of our appreciation. It's on its way to you. Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am Eileen Richards, and I'm the proud owner of ER Recruitment based in Leicestershire. Hence the reason I'm wearing the Leicester chains that I am so proud to be wearing. I'm truly honoured to be standing here today as your president. I have been a chamber member since I've been in business, and I was hoping to be standing in front of you all today at our well-celebrated Leicester Chamber Christmas lunch, which is always so well attended. Instead, I shall deliver my message virtually to you all. I've been in the recruitment industry for a quarter of a century. I specialise within multiple sectors across the country. I decided to set my own recruitment business 7 years ago, as I recognised a gap in the market, offering a more bespoke recruitment partnership. As a business, we truly appreciate the importance of understanding an individual's and a business's DNA. Building strong relationships and offering excellent customer service is at our core. However, I do not do this alone. I have an amazing team at ER, and the DNA and values within our own team is very strong. I strongly believe that in business, we can only succeed if we have the right people working alongside us, whether this be our internal teams, externally through business, and organisations such as the East Midlands Chamber. So what's my involvement been with the Chamber? As I said, I've been working with the Chamber pretty much since I've been in business. Martin Traynor, who I have a lot of respect for, introduced me years ago, and this was when Leicester hadn't yet merged with Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. For those of you that remember, I was chair of Integra, which was the equivalent of Enterprising Women today. As a member, I have always utilised the various services that are offered. Maybe not all 39 that are available to our members, but definitely quite a few of them. I've been a board director for over 3 years. We have incredible talent on our board with complementary skills, experience and respect. Every board director offers their time free of charge, and it is their passion to help and make a difference to you, our members. As a business, we became patrons almost 2 years ago, and I feel very proud to be recognised as such. As co-chair of Enterprising Women, as I briefly mentioned earlier, when the 3 regions formed, I became co-chair alongside the fabulous Jean Mountain. We're also known as Ant and Dec within the Enterprising Women. In all seriousness, this is an amazing platform, and we have kept in touch with our members virtually throughout lockdown with some outstanding webinars hosted by our members. Our vision is connecting, growing and succeeding, and we are currently preparing for our next year awards with some incredible sponsors. Thank you to Lindsay, who supports Jean and I so well. So who are our executive senior management team? Headed up by Scott, our CEO, Scott Knowles, there is Diane, Chris, Lucy and David, who have all worked so hard with their teams to support our chamber members during COVID. Ian Morgan, who is our chair, ensures, like the bus company, Trent Barton, we plan our journey and make sure that the East Midlands Chamber engine is well serviced in order to get us to our destination. Leslie Young does a wonderful job supporting us all. As the President, I have the honour of choosing 3 charities. Supporting charities is a passion of mine. It's really important to support as many as possible, particularly within the current climate. So my 3 chosen charities for 2021 are Chesterfield Samaritans, Help the Homeless in Leicester and Nottingham Hospice. My plan as President is to visit all 3, well, if possible, and really promote what we are doing to support them. I have a few simple ideas also how to raise funds, should we remain virtual for a while longer. My 3 key areas of focus as your President will be, firstly, member to member. This is all about you as our members. Supporting local enterprises by encouraging inter-membership, trading and collaboration. The East Midlands Chamber has been on hand to support each of our members throughout this year and will continue to support businesses in 2021. Since April, the Chamber's information team have received triple the amount of inquiries than in 2019. This cements my earlier point about having the right people surrounding you to help your business drive forward. Our members can trust in us, knowing that the advice and support that they are receiving is based on facts and figures obtained from government and leading bodies. With the level of support received from the Chamber and fellow members, more and more businesses are seeing the true value in Chamber membership. This is a key message that I will continue to share so that our members are connecting, communicating and collaborating to get the maximum results and support for their organisations. My second focus, the next generation, or Generation Next. Promoting the Chamber's network for young professionals and for our future business leaders, the East Midlands is home to incredible educational institutions, with our universities ranking among some of the best in the UK, which is why it is so crucial that we are attracting and retaining top talent within our region. One of my key focuses within my presidential year is to work closely with the Generation Next group to ensure our young professionals have the business support they require to become our future leaders within the East Midlands. My third focus will be the East Midlands economic recovery, ensuring the Chamber acts as a voice for business when lobbying decisions and policymakers to bring infrastructure investment to the region and deliver the promised levelling up agenda. We effectively have a blank canvas and which to rebuild our economy, and now could be the time not just to build back better, but build forward better by implementing sustainability in everything we do. The Sustainability East Midlands campaign, which was launched in November, and its aims to increase engagement amongst the region's firms with a low carbon agenda. This highlighting the business benefits and legal requirements. The East Midlands, with its manufacturing heritage, innovative businesses and academic base, is also ideally positioned at the forefront of this. Also, as we enter a new era of global trade, the Chamber is evolving to meet the needs of businesses as we expand our consultancy service of international trade advisors to help exporters set up overseas subsidiaries, foreign exchange, freight reviews and custom compliance. We will be the region's one-stop shop for all international trade inquiries. In summary, I would like to thank you, our members, patrons and strategic partners for your continued support. Thank you to the Chamber team and board. Going forward, working in collaboration, supporting one another is what will get us through 2021. 2020 has been a year that we could never have imagined. Please use the festive period to take time for yourselves, and I wish you a peaceful, safe Christmas with loved ones. I truly hope that 2021 is a happy, healthy and successful year for you all. I will leave you with a quote that has been on my mind for different reasons throughout the past challenging months. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, to introduce my Vice President, I am delighted to introduce Lindsay Williams from Futures Housing Group as my Vice President. I am really looking forward to working with Lindsay, and I know that we will complement each other very well. Lindsay is an exceptional business person and has already made a significant difference working with the Chamber Board. We have had some retiring board members. There have been 2 existing directors who have resigned from the board this year, Robert Mayo and Stephen Midgley. Thank you to you both. Now, I'd like to welcome our guest speakers for the day, our winners of the Business of the Year Awards for Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire.
Good morning. My name is John Beswick. I'm one of the directors of PR Marriott Drilling, which is the parent company of the Marriott Drilling Group. The company was established in 1947 by the late Richard Marriott, and today it is owned by the two of the grandsons, Paul Marriott and Jonty Hobday. Jonty is the managing director. Originally, our work started in drilling for water in Derbyshire, and the late Richard Marriott was very inventive and built his own drilling rigs. In recent years, the last 20 years, the company's moved into other types of deep drilling and even shallow drilling. we originally started to work in the oil and gas business in the UK, and then we had small projects in places like France, Spain, Sweden, which was a geothermal job, and Portugal. And then about 20 years ago, the company took quite a gamble and went to Belize, where there had been 50 wells drilled and had not discovered any oil. The first well that Marriott drilled actually discovered oil, and several further wells also discovered further oil resources. And the company had an equity arrangement within that deal, so that helped to establish the company in the international market. Since then, we've drilled in several countries. We started really serious overseas trading in West Africa, in Cameroon, where we drill one of the most dangerous wells in the world, which is a high pressure, high temperature well, very successfully. And then we moved into East Africa, where we've been drilling geothermal wells, and also we drilled, we had a 3-year program for oil exploration up in the northern part of Kenya, in a remote area, which basically gave us the credibility in Africa for our performance. Since then, we've worked in Guatemala on geothermal work. We run 3 rigs in Bolivia, and we work also in Mozambique. And we currently have fairly serious tenders out for large projects in Uganda and also in Kuwait. Originally, we were a water well company, but we moved into oil and gas in the UK first, and then we branched out into the geothermal business. And geothermal is very different from oil and gas, and it's quite a challenging environment, particularly in places like Guatemala and East Africa. We then also worked in the geoscience side of the business, and we have helped the British Geological Survey in setting up a geolaboratory in Cheshire, and we're currently drilling an exploration well in Shropshire, which is an international project to investigate the Jurassic formations. And that particular well is cored entirely from top to bottom, so that the geologists at the British Geological Survey can actually investigate in great detail the geological properties. We've also have some interest in the nuclear business. We're currently working in Switzerland to investigate potential sites for a mined repository for radioactive waste. We also have some interest in the deep borehole disposal of high-level waste, which we're working as part of a research program with the University of Sheffield. As well as that, we have been involved in the mining business. We drilled for 3 years up in North Yorkshire to investigate the potash deposits close to the national park and in the national park, and that investigation program proved that the potash is one of the world's largest deposits. We were also working in Cheshire on drilling wells for salt extraction, and some of those wells, when they're leached, may be used for gas or even hydrogen storage in the future. Finally, the performance over the last few years has been really quite incredible, and it has to be, excuse the cliche, but it's really all about the people. We have several members of the Marriott family or continue to be involved in the business, but also we've brought in a number of specialists and talented people from the industry. So we feel that we have an extremely good team, and that has manifested itself in a reputation in places like East Africa as being one of the best contractors, even against the big international companies. Finally, I would just like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for the awards that we received this year. I think it's acknowledgement of and thanks to all the people that work for us and the Marriott team. And finally, I would just like to, on behalf of Marriott, to wish every member of the Chamber and the sponsors happy Christmas, and I hope that 2021 is a successful year, and more perhaps with less problems than we've had this year with the COVID-19 issues. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm James Healy, COO from Air IT, and I'd just like to say that we're absolutely delighted to have won the Nottinghamshire Business of the Year award. I'd also like to say huge congratulations to all of the finalists. I thought there's some fantastic examples of great businesses that have not only done well through the pandemic, but have actually thrived. So congratulations to you all. I'd also like to thank the judges, the sponsor and the Chamber for putting on such a fantastic event. Who would have thought that a year ago we'd have been sat in our own front rooms watching the Chamber event live on our own televisions? I think the awards have demonstrated how technology can be put to best practice and enable businesses to adapt. Utilising modern day technology can help you in many ways. It can help you to engage with your customers, your people. It can also make you more profitable, but also give you a lot of the foundations that are needed to drive your business forward. For Air IT, we've always been very technology focused, quick to adapt, and looking at new ways that we can utilise technology in order to innovate. And I think now more than ever, that really comes true into the forefront. What I would recommend to anybody, any business out there, is create a plan and work towards it. Back yourselves, because I think now investment is needed more than ever, particularly in technology. I think that can really support your business leading into some uncertain times, such as we've just gone through with the pandemic. If you can stay one step ahead of the competition, then I believe those fruits will be rewarded a multitude of times over the coming months and years. So back yourselves. Please make sure that you do invest in your business, in your teams, particularly in technology, and keep up the great work. As I said earlier, I think there were some fantastic examples, some real highlights, some great businesses and what's been achieved in the Nottinghamshire community. The Chamber's played a key part of our growth over the recent years. We've been a member since the very beginning of that. We started our business back in 2005. We became a patron in a couple of years ago, and more recently a strategic partner. And I think the business community that the Chamber has linked us up with, and the businesses that engage with the Chamber, has been absolutely fantastic and has really played a key role in not only the development of our business, but also in our customer base, our vendor relationships, and generally the business community and what that brings in terms of sharing ideas and helping one another progress. So I think we should all be very proud of what we have achieved this year. It's been challenging, there's been a lot of hard work, and I'm sure there's more to come. But please keep up the great work, and I'm sure 2021 is going to be the start of new beginnings. So hopefully see you all in person next year at the awards. Look forward to it. Take care. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello. We were delighted to have been awarded both the Excellence in International Trade and the Business of the Year awards for Leicestershire. During a really difficult year, it is great to be able to share some positive celebration with the team. DB Automation are technology disruptors in the fields of special purpose automation and test systems. Along with Premier Bowl feeders within the PCE group, we collaborate on world-leading technology platforms, providing automation solutions for many markets, including fast-moving consumer goods, medical devices and ocular products. The challenges we have faced this year have not been insignificant, ranging from delays in our supply chain for getting goods and services, a shortage of available skilled labour, and the inability, due to restrictions, to install our machinery in its final destination in our clients' facilities. Throughout this time though, we have been fortunate to be able to continue to operate under safe conditions. We have adopted some new working practices and methods as well as develop collaborations with the US automation provider to allow us to offer support to overseas. During 2019, DB Automation alone in the group saw 70% of our turnover delivered to international destinations. The strong client base continues to grow organically without a dedicated sales division. This strength underpins our desire to expand this market. With our strong reputation for reliable machinery, we are well placed to be able to see significant gains in market share. The challenges this year have not affected our determination to strive for further expansion of the group. Although we don't expect to see any increase in turnover for 2020, the turnover which we have maintained is showing to be more profitable. Continuous improvement and a keen focus on how we operate has resulted in these improved results that we are seeing. We actively encourage our team to look for areas of improvement and monitor the motivation of our team every 90 days. We will not be dwelling on the past year though, and now our sights are firmly planted on our 2025 plan. The group goal for then is set at 25 million, and we are confident at the present rate of growth of achieving at least that. Our plans are ambitious. In order to achieve them, we will be seeing expansion to the production and assembly capacity at our Suffolk site, and more excitingly for the Lutterworth team, we see the development of the East Midlands Automation Centre as being key to the group's success. A Midlands base has always been very important to the group, and it was a significant element during the acquisition of DB Automation in 2018. The East Midlands is perfectly positioned to access many parts of the UK within a 4-hour window, enabling our support and service teams to be on hand the same day if required. With such an importance placed on this location, you will understand why we plan the expansion into a purpose-built facility in order to grow our Midlands site. Also very much in our sights, as I mentioned, is further expanding and building on our presence internationally. The creation of a US division will be a key feature of this growth, and the development of our customer base stateside will be a significant factor in this. We are proud that we are so active in these territories, and being awarded the Excellence in International Trade from both yourselves and the prestigious Queen's Award in the same year demonstrates this perfectly. With currently no sales division for us in the US specifically, as I mentioned, it is a tribute to the quality and reliability of our equipment which develops this organic growth. As a PCE group continues on its path, we see continuous investment in the team as pivotal to achieving our ambitious targets. We are active in collaborations with many local universities and training providers. This, coupled with the continuation of a successful apprenticeship scheme, will bring young engineers to the forefront of technology. We are dedicated to our team and our people. Strong investment in training and development in a field that excites and motivates our guys to constantly improve will result in a truly formidable team. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you all for listening today, and for those involved in the awards this year. My heartfelt praise for the events you produced, as well as my gratitude for being honoured with the awards. Thank you.
We will now see a short video of all the names of our long-standing members, starting with members celebrating from 25 years to 65 years and including our longest serving member. This list is over 100 members long. Why wouldn't you want to be a Chamber member? And finally, it's my great honour to introduce Scott Knowles, Chief Executive of the Chamber, to provide a Chamber update.
So, good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Knowles, and I have the privilege of being the Chief Executive at East Midlands Chamber. Sorry we can't obviously all be together in the way in which we would have liked. As we know, it's clearly not been a normal year, but let's hope, and I'm sure, that we'll be able to reconvene in 2021 in the way in which we would or wish to meet. So I've got the job of wrapping up this year's annual general meeting, and it's traditional, I guess, because you're almost reporting on an old financial year to do that. I'm not going to do that this year. You've already heard from the chair of the board, Ian Morgan. You've heard about the Chamber's financial performance from Stuart Dawkins, the chair of the Risk and Audit Committee, and you've heard from our outgoing president, Dawn Edwards, and of course also from our new president, Eileen Richards. So I thought I would focus very much on 2020 and of course what comes next in 2021. Before I do that, I just want to also add my voice to say thank you to Dawn for all of her service as president. Clearly it wasn't the year that any of us expected, and Dawn did miss out on some of those great showcasing opportunities such as the annual dinner, but hopefully we clawed some of that back for Dawn through things like the Business Awards and obviously through today. But thank you, Dawn, for your support and service. It's been invaluable as always. So we're going to look at a bit of 2020 and what does 2021 bring. Well, first of all, you can see there on screen what the Chamber's vision is, so to enhance East Midlands businesses and communities. And of course, that's been incredibly difficult this year, challenging for us all in lots of different ways, depending on what sector we're in, what geography we're in, and the size of business, of course, whether you're an importer, whether you're an exporter. But obviously, we remain completely committed to that vision. Not just about enhancing East Midlands businesses, but also adding value in the communities in which they operate. And of course, that will continue into 2021. You can see there on screen the Chamber's values, and we remain 100% committed to those values. And at our most recent staff survey, 100% of staff of the Chamber workforce said that they were committed to those values. So I suppose I can't really give this update without actually getting into COVID-19 and the impact on the business. Well, like many businesses or many office-based businesses, there's been 152 members of staff, there or thereabouts, all working remotely since the 23rd of March this year. The offices remain open. That's really important. So if there are things that we can't do at home, then of course everybody will go into the office to be able to complete those tasks to make sure that you, our members, our customers and the wider business community get the support that you need when you need it. And of course we're in and out of the offices quite frequently to make sure that we can deliver on that promise. Like many businesses, we had to move very quickly and in a very agile fashion to virtualise all of our products and services. And I'm really pleased and I'm very impressed by the way in which the Chamber team reacted to that. And within about 48 hours, we managed to virtualise everything from our events programme to our policy and sector forums to things like our startup service and our business advisory services, business crime reduction partnerships, and of course things like commercial training and so on. And obviously I know many of you have taken part in those virtual events this year. Interestingly, of course, it's actually arguably grown our business engagement. But of course, looking forward to 2021, then I'm certain that we won't obviously just throw out all of these new ways of working just because we can. We clearly see that in many ways it's very productive, it's very efficient, it reduces travel time. So of course it'll be a blended approach, like I'm sure many of you are planning within your own businesses. So a quick view on where are we now. So I mentioned there's 152 members of staff. So the Chamber has an annual turnover of 9.5 million. But don't get too excited by that because, of course, there's an awful lot of contractual, I'd call it flow-through money. I'm sure there's a better technical term where effectively cash for things like business support programs, European funded business support programs in particular, effectively doesn't touch the sides. But collectively as a business, we have a turnover of 9.5 million. So we now have a cohort of 38 specialist business advisors, specialists in things like digitisation, scale up for all of those ambitious and growing businesses, of which we've got so many here in the East Midlands, internationalisation, advice and support, basically all the things that businesses are going to need to excel at in, and I hate to use the word because of course it's overused, but the new normal, the sort of post-COVID, post-Brexit business landscape. So please make sure that you take advantage of all of those resources that the Chamber can offer. The Chamber remains a 40% shareholder in the EMB group, so that's a very important investment that the Chamber holds, and of course you've heard from Stuart already in regards to that. The Chamber remains the accountable body as an employer for Destination Chesterfield, for D2N2 Local Enterprise Partnership, and for Marketing Peak District in Derbyshire, and is also now the accountable body for Business Peak District. So again, a number of place-making organisations that the Chamber's extremely proud to work in partnership with, and again, making sure that your voice is heard as the business community, which of course is exactly why we are here. So the Chamber's goals are quite likely to change. You can actually see the goals from our current business plan here on the screen behind me, and of course they cover everything from how we showcase what you're doing as the business community, how we celebrate your successes, how we develop our own talent internally, including things like our large cohort of business advisors. And we think that these need tweaking for 2021. So again, coming back to those subjects of digitisation, internationalisation and economic recovery in that sort of post-COVID, post-Brexit landscape. So keep your eyes peeled for a slight tweaking there of our goals as a business, and obviously how we then work to support what you tell us are important strands of work in your own businesses, from your own business's perspective. So we work very closely with all of our strategic partners on bespoke strands of work, which we think are representative of what you tell us are important as the business community. Our patrons, of course, so many, which you can see on the screen behind me, again, deserve specific thanks for their support around things like the Chamber's Business Awards programme, sponsoring things like our Energy Summit, the Chamber's annual dinner in a normalised year, of course, and therefore I can't give enough thanks to that cohort of members that contribute such a significant amount of their own resources, because they thoroughly believe that supporting the Chamber and the wider business community is really important to them. And here's just a few key performance indicators for what does the first part of the year look like for the Chamber. And you'll be pleased to know I'm not actually going to pick on individual work streams there, but hopefully you can see some of the impacts that the Chamber have had in terms of some of the services in which it delivers. So here's something that people may not know. So myself and the Chamber's senior management team, we're represented on, it's about 120 groups, fora, committee, investment panels, and there's just a small sample here represented on screen. I certainly couldn't find a slide where I could get all 120 on. So if you're not represented, apologies. But really what I was trying to convey is actually what you can see is a really broad sort of micro to macro perspective there that Clearly, the Chamber works really closely with partners like the local enterprise partnerships, really important organisations in terms of economic recovery. But of course, it works very closely with public sector colleagues, the county councils, the city councils, the borough and district councils, but also plenty of other entities as well. Things like Midlands Connect, very important. Midlands Engine, really important in terms of making sure that here in the East Midlands we get that level of investment that we deserve from central government. And of course, all of that ties into things like the levelling up agenda. You'll hear much more about that, of course, in 2021. So we think it's really important that the Chamber expends time and resources supporting these organisations and actually being your voice of business around those important meeting tables. Here's just a sample of some of the key decision makers that we have engaged with in 2020. Again, a lot of that's been done virtually. And of course, what we've also found is it's arguably much easier to get key decision makers to give up an hour of their time rather than half a day of their time, particularly for those that might be travelling from London. So again, small sample here on screen. You'll see much more in 2021, particularly around that levelling up agenda, which I mentioned earlier. Of course, the Chamber is your voice of business. It's never been more important than it has than the year that we've just had, of course. And, the Chamber continues to represent the business community on topics such as HS2, making sure that the area has the right level of skills, both to directly engage with HS2 to create new opportunities, but also what does that mean for things like the supply chain. We've delivered a programme called Readiness for Change as we approach the end of the EU transition period on the 31st of December. So again, you have seen a huge amount of support from the Chamber in regards to helping businesses prepare for what, you may ask. And of course, we're clearly going to find that out ahead of the festive break, let's hope. And therefore, what you will see in 2021 is the Chamber's support for the Brexit transition becoming much less generalist, but much more specific and much more niche to address the individual needs of businesses. So please keep an eye out for that. The Chamber, here's something you may not know, but the Chamber is the Secretariat or Co-Secretariat for an all-party parliamentary group. This is where we bring together a number of members of Parliament, elected members, collectively to be able to debate the issues of the area. And again, we will continue to lobby and engage directly with our elected members to make sure that the business voice is heard and that we take those key messages back down to Westminster and to Whitehall. One opportunity that is coming up very fast in 2021, and of course the Chamber will support an East Midlands Freeport bid, hinged around obviously that jewel that we have at East Midlands Airport. So again, you'll hear much more about that coming up over the weeks and months, but another fabulous opportunity for us here in the East Midlands. So what do we think are the really important topics to be at the heart of the debate of next year? Some of you will be familiar with the East Midlands Development Corporation. This has the potential to be a huge game changer for the area, linking together a number of sites around the airport, around Ratcliffe-on-Soar Power Station, around Towton and around Chetwynd Barracks. A fantastic opportunity to bring long-lasting transformation to the East Midlands economy. So clearly we will be supportive of that agenda, very important. Brexit and trade, of course, will be incredibly important in 2021. We're all expecting at this point for there to be some new administrative processes, new admin burdens, whatever the outcome of the UK's negotiations with the EU are. So again, supporting businesses through that, very important. We've obviously, you keep hearing this phrase, build back better. And of course, some of you will be aware that the Chamber launched its Sustainable East Midlands campaign a couple of weeks ago. And we think that there is a fantastic opportunity for the East Midlands economy to focus on those outputs of what a sustainable economic drive might bring. So you will see more activity from the Chamber in that area. Of course, Brexit and COVID-19 economic recovery are both incredibly important, and we can't underestimate how much economic model will have changed by this time next year. And it's important that the Chamber remains agile and that it remains fit for purpose, so that it meets the needs of what you, our members, our customers and the business community actually need to grow your own businesses as we emerge from the pandemic. So with all that, what's next? Well, of course, COVID-19 economic recovery and the end of the transition period with the EU, of course, absolutely have to be first and foremost to make sure you're getting the support that you need when you need it. Generation Next is a really important initiative for the Chamber. This is how we help develop that young business talent, the entrepreneurs, the new business startups to be the business leaders of tomorrow. And of course, it's also about how we help retain talent here in the East Midlands. So working with organisations like the University of Derby, our headline sponsor for Generation Next, and working with organisations like Purpose Media, our digital partner in terms of Generation Next. It's about how we actually drive that next generation of talent to be as good as they can possibly be. The Chamber's also going to work to influence what SPF, as forever it will be known, the Shared Prosperity Fund. So this is UK PLC's fund that ultimately will replace European funds. So around delivering business support, delivering public realm investment as well. And clearly the Chamber wants to be able to influence that to make sure that some of those business support programmes that the businesses here in the East Midlands desperately need to enable their business growth absolutely can continue. You've probably heard a lot around things like Kickstart, and Kickstart again is a key component of that economic recovery after the pandemic. We all know that young people have been very adversely affected. The largest growth in unemployment has been amongst younger people, and I'm really pleased to say that the Chamber is now working with more than 400 employers, working on about 1,400 placements of getting young people back into work, and hopefully that will generate some sustainable employment at the end of those 6 months programmes. And of course, a whole thread continuing across this, as we've all experienced this year, digital transformation remains absolutely key to all organisations, and of course the Chamber is no different from any of you in regards to that. So just to finish, a few diary dates there for 2021. So as it stands currently, we are hoping to deliver our Enterprising Women's Awards programme. So applications are now open. I shall get scolded by our new president if I don't mention that. And of course we intend to deliver an annual dinner as it stands currently, and of course any changes to that, and you'll be well notified. So all that remains is for me to say thank you very much for your time, very much for your attention, and of course for your support in being part of the wider Chamber community and the East Midlands business community. It's much appreciated. Thank you.